Hello and happy Tuesday, everybody. It is the Football Lounge. I am joined by some regular people again. I'm not going to go in on him tonight, but we are joined by Bobby. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I was backstage since yesterday, just drinking and making sure I had something to eat and had enough energy for today. I was prepared for you to actually dig at me today. I was like, I'll prepare myself now.
I'm saving all my energy,
Okay.
just in case I need it. And we have somebody down below who complains about British time and it constantly changing. Ross, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good, but there's going to be a lot of complaining tonight. I'm even wearing all black to mourn Aston Villa's performance in the weekend. So I'm fired up now.
Yeah, well, somebody needs to be fired up because it's definitely not Aston Villa's team.
We haven't even finished the intro yet.
No, we haven't. So we're going to do what we usually do. I'm going to quickly pass you over to Bobby to talk about a wonderful, wonderful sponsor.
Give me 2 seconds, and I definitely will. There. Oh, I've just done it. There we go. We are proudly sponsored by Global Mapping Surveys. Global Mapping Surveys currently assist architects, property developers, and construction companies all over the country. They offer a wide range of services such as setting out topographical surveys, 3D laser scanning, and monitoring. The link is in the description for the website and contact details. Thank you so much to Global Mapping Surveys.
Yes, thank you so much to Global Mapping Surveys. And I get Bobby to do that every single time because I can't say one of those words and it comes out something completely different. I couldn't even tell you what language it comes out as, to be honest with you. That's why I don't say it. And we're also proud to announce that we are in an official partnership with Rafe Energy Drink. Now, Rafe is a powdered energy formula which is mixed with water, so it is a water-based energy drink. It's a healthier alternative to generic cans that you can get from any kind of supermarkets or online stores. Its clean, zero sugar, antioxidant-rich formula is designed to give you the edge that you need. If you want to get some of this, do scan that QR code right there. That will take you to a website, and you can use code FTSN22 for a 10% discount. So thank you to Rafe as well. Now we've got all that out of the way, gentlemen. There's a big topic. It's a big one, and I know it's a bit touchy as well for certain people. And I'm expecting to see a lot of comments about the hate and everything as well. But who's changed my title? Someone changed my title. So I'm going to give him a little clip when I see him.
Nothing's doing me. I've done nothing. Oh, they changed it too.
Like Man United season, we're off to a bad start.
Yeah, but it only gets better. Unlike Aston Villa's.
He's gonna bring your team into it for no reason whatsoever.
Here we go. Done. The topic of the show is Ronaldo's return to Manchester United being a disaster. Now, obviously, we have pro Ronaldo. We have pro Messi. I hate this mirror image. Rubbish. So, I mean, obviously, I'm pro Ronaldo. I'm a United fan. I have Ronaldo on the back of this shirt. I think he's a brilliant player. But, I've got to take those rose-tinted glasses off for this show. I can't just be pro Ronaldo. And to help us, I'm going to come to you first, Bobby, but to help us with it, I've got not some of his stats. I've got his goals from last season and obviously the players that were closest to him last season. So he arrived last season, did reasonably well, I think, looking at that, but has it been a disaster?
Now, didn't he last season have a spell where he scored loads of goals and then all of a sudden it just dropped off?
Yeah.
Now, has anyone worked out what that reason was? Has anyone? Because that's the important factor. If there's been a specific reason why it dropped off. Because when he came in, I was like, I wasn't too keen on the reason that they were doing it. We all know why they were doing it. But he, scored loads of goals. I was like, oh, that's good for United. But then it all of a sudden just dropped off. And I wish I knew what has caused him to be this way. Because if it's personal, then obviously nothing anyone can do about that. I hope he's okay if it is personal. But it is sad to see. I'm not a Ronaldo fan. I never have been. I don't know why. I've just never liked the guy. But it is sad to see someone that is well regarded in football doing quite badly for me. And I don't like saying that. Like Messi, I was kind of expecting a bit of a drop off, but if anything, he's just stepped it up a little bit for me at PSG. So has it been a disaster? I think this season we can say yes, it's been a huge disaster this season. When he first came in, no, but then there was that drop off, and you can say you can't really say it was a total disaster last season because obviously he's got 18 goals. That's ridiculous. But this season you can definitely say it was a disaster. I think if he wanted to go in the summer, I would have just let him go for whatever reason he wanted to go. Just let him go.
Fair enough. I don't understand where you're coming from. I'm going to come to you as well here now, Ross. Obviously, he did miss quite a few games last season as well. I'm looking at now 2 problems with his hip flexor. He got left out of the squad twice. Obviously, he got given special leave as well because of the incident that happened with him. Do you think it's all of these things that have made Ronaldo struggle?
No, I think Ronaldo's just a victim of a bad circumstance, to be honest. I mean, I could slate the guy the whole night for certain things I don't like. But I mean, we have to look at both lenses, as you put it there, Colin. We have to firstly go back to him originally coming to his second return to Manchester United. And that was in part of the Glazers trying to paper over cracks and trying to boost the support that they had or they had lost, that diminished from the supporters. And I've constantly said that signing Ronaldo was a champagne signing. It was just one of those to try and get most of the supporters back on board. And we look at the circumstance around that. He wanted to come back to United because he had his own issues in Italy. He loves Manchester United. There's no denying that. But he walked into a dressing room that was pretty much falling apart. You had Ralf Rangnick, who was the interim head coach at the time. And that whole appointment was dubious, in my opinion, because he had no role after he had become the interim head coach. So you had Ralf Rangnick there that plays a certain way, which Ronaldo can't play due to his age, which is the pressing style. He's not a pressing player at this time, because of his age. He's obviously lost his pace and he prefers to save his energy for scoring goals. I mean, he's a natural goal scorer. His stats don't lie. So he's had to try and fit in that Ralf system. And to be fair, he did really good last season. He was their top scorer from your stats there. And that drop-off happened when they started playing Bruno and Ronaldo together, because obviously Bruno came into the squad and he was promised certain things like starting a certain amount of games, which you do for star players. I mean, that's natural in the contracts. And during their tenure with Ralf Rangnick's tenure, having Ronaldo and Bruno in this Manchester United squad with the supporting players they had at the time wasn't gelling. That's why you'd see Bruno's assist stats and key passes drop off as well, because he wasn't able to occupy the spaces that Ronaldo was occupying. So I think Ronaldo, I just have to reiterate and emphasize that he was just unlucky. He was just unlucky that after other players had to come in and interfere with what his role was within the club and the squad started to diminish because of that. Now Erik ten Hag's come in. He has a clear vision for how he wants to build the squad. And that's fine because every manager has their own identity. Ronaldo just doesn't fit it. And I can tell you this, even if he was starting the majority of the matches and he wasn't scoring as much, he would still come under criticism because the media, especially the English media, they love to hype and point out how great players are falling if they don't score after 3 or 4 games. So it just exploded more because United aren't in the Champions League and he's not starting a certain number of games as well. And it's honestly just compounded because of the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Obviously, I'll come back to you here, Bobby. Obviously, Ross said in regards to the Man United dressing room when he arrived was falling apart. Obviously, all the rumours were there that it was a very, very split dressing room. You were either Team Maguire or Team Ronaldo. This has been broadcasted everywhere. You know, Ronaldo seemed to have got his way. You know, all the foreign players decided to stick with Ronaldo, because of his stature, whereas the English players, not all of them, but a majority of the English players stuck behind their captain, Harry Maguire. That would affect any dressing room, surely.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's I remember when reading the storylines and obviously watching some YouTubers talk about it. It's mental. Firstly, what I would say, it's mental that people went Team Maguire. I'm not saying this because I'm not a fan of Maguire, but if you're going to have two players there in the dressing room, you're going to go Team Ronaldo or Team Maguire. There is no There is a let's go to Ronaldo because he's been there. He's done stuff. He's won stuff. Maguire, I can't think if he's won anything. I don't think he has, even if championship levels and stuff.
He's won Premier League, hasn't he, with Leicester?
Yes,
that's it. That's all he's done.
That's about it. But that. Other than that, why would you? I don't agree with the fact that happened because Maguire's the captain. It should be like that. That should be it. Now, who should you be blaming for that? Should that be the team going? Okay, Maguire's the captain. Respect him. Should that little tear happen by saying, "Oh, well, Ronaldo's not"? Were they not getting on? Was that the problem? Was that the issue where Ronaldo wasn't getting on with Maguire?
As far as I'm aware, the issue was Ronaldo doesn't think Maguire is good enough to lead Manchester United.
Okay, this is where I have a big problem with Ronaldo. Who gives him the right to decide that? He's employed by Manchester United. He is no god of football. Unless you want, certain people will call him god of football, but he's not. He's employed by Manchester United. Harry Maguire's the captain. Get on it or get out. It's as simple as that. Like, I don't agree with what Arteta did with Aubameyang fully, but he did say, get on or get out. And he did. He got out. So I think Man United should have dealt with that maybe a bit better. Don't let that happen. But how much control did Ralph really have? Probably not. Obviously, we won't talk too much about the hierarchy at United, but there's not many people that have got the balls to probably stand up to that and go, Ronaldo, get with the program or get out.
No, I've got to agree. There isn't many people. I'll come back to you, Ross, before we move on and I'll look at a few more little things in regards to it. You've got to look at the way Ronaldo is, especially like this season. We saw a little bit of it last season as well. Obviously, he has himself on a very high pedestal. He wants the best for himself. He's always demanding the best from everybody, including himself. But we've seen things happen that is shining a bit of bad light on him now. We had the incident where he broke the mobile phone. We've had a couple of incidents now where he's walked out before games have finished. He refused to come on. All these things, it feeds into, is his return to Manchester United a disaster?
Yeah, and before I continue with that, I'll have to just say that this is all, in my opinion, because obviously I'm just an outsider here, because I'm just speculating. I can only talk about what I see, which is his actions for one. But as soon as we start to dwell into the politics of any football club, it becomes a bit murky because we just see what actions are happening on the pitch and then we make our own assumptions. We just connect the dots. And what I can say is that if Ronaldo was captain of Manchester United, can you imagine the disarray in that changing room? So it might actually be a blessing for Man United that Maguire is the captain, and he's actually brave enough to be the scapegoat for most of the problems. Yes, we know that his quality not his quality, but his form has dipped off in recent months, and that's fine. But you got to think about how brave as a man and as a player he's been able just to take it on board and not lash out. Yes, he's made some high-profile errors, but he's taken that. He's just taken on the chin. And I think if you had a player like Ronaldo with his attitude, it would cause a lot more problems than you guys need at the moment. And having all those actions that he had on the pitch and off the pitch has probably contributed to the media snowballing it and saying that his return is a disaster. Because if we just look at it in footballing terms, yes, his goal scoring rate and his XG rate has not kept up in recent years, but that's just a natural decline. Is it a disaster? No, it's just him starting to wind down his career slowly. You don't expect him to be smashing in hat-tricks every week, especially in the hardest league in the world. But his off-field antics, you could possibly say that's just part of the problem with Manchester United. It's all become one big issue with a toxic dressing room, a horrible leadership and board that you guys have got at the moment, and it's trickled down. And you can argue that Ronaldo is just that flame to the fuel, and it's caught fire, and it's going to cause a huge explosion within the dressing room. And you can see Erik ten Hag trying to calm that. I do feel sorry for Ronaldo because he's frustrated. He's won the lot. He's a quality player. And when he retires, he'll go down as one of the world's best ever to grace the pitch. There's no denying that. But all this that's happening is really starting to diminish his name in the football standards.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 100%. He's won everything possibly there is to win. I mean, if you look at some of his accolades, he's a 2 times best men's player, 5-time Ballon d'Or winner, a 4-time UEFA best player in Europe, a 10-time Footballer of the Year, 19-time top goal scorer, a 1-time Puskas Award. He's won all these trophies and everything. And he's come back to United to try and make United great again, which I absolutely love him for. He's trying to do that for the club that he loves. But I just want to go back to something that was said, and both of you can have an answer on this. Why can't Bruno and Ronaldo play on the same team when they do it for Portugal?
Well, I think if I can just jump in there, Bobby, because you look like you're ready to bite. I just think it's down to the type of playing style that they have at their respective teams. I mean, the Portuguese managers threatened a number of times that he was going to drop Ronaldo if his attitude doesn't change at club level. And we've seen how the Portuguese lineup is with the starting squad, where he has Bruno playing in the hole and Ronaldo just literally sitting in the box for tap-ins. And it's quite it's quite a common occurrence where you call Ronaldo the tap-in master. But I mean, if he's scoring goals and if a player's doing what he's supposed to do, then he'll be renowned for it. End of the day, goals win games. Whereas with the Manchester United squad and English Premier League in general, players have to be more fluid to adapt different roles and positions at different phases of the game. So Bruno, when Ronaldo wasn't in the squad, a lot of the times, and you can correct me where I'm wrong here, he almost started playing as a false 9, and he allowed Rashford and Mason Greenwood to come in as inside forwards last year. That's why we saw Mason Greenwood's goals comparison to his games was quite high. He got 5 goals in about 18 games, that is quite high as an inside forward. And if you try and play Ronaldo in the box with Bruno as well, trying to move in between each other, it just creates confusion. Not to mention, as I said earlier, you got the other supporting players like McTominay, like Fred, like your wingers, trying to all move around in harmony. And it just didn't click for United. The only reason Ronaldo ended up getting so much goals is because his natural instincts, he was at the right place at the right time. So in the Portuguese national squad, it's much more static compared to the United squad.
Very interesting. Bobby, anything to add?
No, Ross has said it perfectly. That is exactly how it is for me.
That's fair enough. I'm just going to quickly go to the comments. Rebel is in the chat. Unfortunately, couldn't be with us due to work commitments. But he does say, for me, Ronaldo unfortunately hasn't settled into a situation where the system is built around him anymore. Better for all parties at this point if he leaves. He continues to say, don't think anyone will question what he has achieved, but that isn't what he is now. He's not a 500k per week player anymore. Ten Hag is looking for high energy output, which I completely agree. And he's saying that I think Ronnie will leave in January and most likely go to the MLS for the final paycheck, which I kind of agree with, kind of disagree. I've seen Ronaldo tracking back I've seen Ronaldo running from the front all the way back to defend, and then trying to get forward. Unfortunately, he can't
It's
do
just
that anymore.
unorthodox. No, it's unorthodox. I mean, you're telling a player who's broken so much records for goal scores, especially in the Champions League, to start tracking back. Of course, he's going to lose his head. That's not what he's there to do. You wouldn't ask the Brazilian Ronaldo to track back. No, he will stay there in the penalty box to score you goals. So I don't blame Ronaldo for losing his head over that. But it's just how the modern game has evolved. But please continue.
No, I was just saying. Obviously, he tracks back. I've seen it quite a few times. But this no major club is going to give him 500k anymore. Coming from Rebel again. But with Rebel saying here, obviously this one, I think Ronnie will leave. So it's a question to both of you: is Manchester United better without Ronaldo in the team?
Easily, yes.
Okay, Ross.
Performances on the pitch, yeah, the stats don't lie. They win more and they score more without Ronaldo. But his influence on the game, I'd still like to think Ronaldo is a huge leader and definitely an influence to younger players. But I mean, if you just look on the pitch and if it's scoring goals and winning matches, that's going to determine whether United's better or not. Then yeah.
Okay. So I actually have something here that will either go with or go against what you guys have just said. And it's the stats United with Ronaldo and without Ronaldo this season. So Manchester United with Ronaldo this season, 12 games, 8 wins, 1 draw, 3 losses. They've scored 16 goals. They've had 12 goals against. The win percentage is 66.7. Without, they've played 3 games, only won once, drew once, lost once, scored 6 goals, average a goal of 2 goals a game. They've conceded less goals. Does that there back up your claim that United are better without Ronaldo?
How many of those games with Ronaldo did he start?
Oh, Jesus.
You're
You're asking me a question now.
And were they Premier League or were they Europa?
Well, I believe these are probably a mix, these ones.
I've got a feeling they're mainly more Europa because, as far as I'm aware, he's only scored 1 in the Premier League, 2 in Europa.
Yeah, he's only got 1 in the
He's
Premier League,
played
2 in
more.
Europa.
He's played more minutes in Europa than he has in the Premier League.
But regardless of that, you're saying that Manchester United are better without Ronaldo in the squad. But these stats on here prove that Man United win more games when Ronaldo is in the team.
Yeah, I just have to point back to my earlier question about how many games he started, because what I've noticed that the games that Ronaldo has started is Man United become quite more. They don't seem as aggressive when they're playing and more emphasis on moving forward as a team. And we've seen how Ten Hag has experimented with that in the Europa League. And I've also seen games where Ronaldo's come on as a sub and United are comfortably leading and they've got the game in the bag. So that is my only worry with the stats.
So 4 out of the 12 games he's started.
And how many of those 4 games were wins?
How many of those were wins? West Ham, Everton, 2. 2 of the ones where he started are wins.
I will go back to the West Ham game because, in fact, me and you did that.
Yep.
I hardly noticed him.
Yeah,
I'll be perfectly honest.
I hardly noticed him, in all fairness.
So, I think it's better to get Red now because you can get someone in for the future, not for the now. I think United need to start planning for the future better than now. Then, because taking 500k off your wage bill is brilliant for most clubs. And yeah, go out and sign someone else that is going to be there for a few more years because Ronaldo's not going to be there forever now. It's going to be either this season or next season. That's it.
It would be interesting to see the commercial pull that Ronaldo has, because surely Man United are banking on those image rights one way or another. So whether it's profitable for United to cut their losses from their wage packet for the 500k a week, that's something that's out of my realms of knowledge at the moment. But if it's not, and they're actually earning more money than what his salary is costing from commercial and image rights and whatever else, then he'll more than likely just stay on to be the image of Man United.
Yeah, no, I do understand what you're saying. I mean, we're talking about Ronaldo leaving in January, you know, and there's going to have to be a replacement coming in for them. I'm not going to go into the replacement side. That's for a completely different kind of show. That's not for today. But I can talk very quickly about, well, I can give you 4 teams that are linked to apparently be interested in a certain Cristiano Ronaldo. And I want to get your thoughts on, you know, because I'll run out of time. So I'm just going to do it quite quickly. Where you think he would play his best football. So the 4 clubs are Napoli, Atletico Madrid, Inter Miami, and Chelsea.
Inter Miami for me.
Oh, Bobby. You and I, Bobby. There was supposed to be a boxing match between me and Colin, but you and I, Bobby, we might go at it.
I can enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm going to rule out a couple clubs there already. Atletico won't take him.
Yep.
Napoli, I don't think so. You know, we spoke about it before the show started, just briefly, that they're quite happy with Victor Osimhen holding that starting role. And to, you know, respectfully to Ronaldo, he's not going to be able to take his place because Napoli are playing really, really well. And they're not going to want any chance to disrupt their dressing room harmony. Chelsea might, only because of Todd Bowley, but I worry about the FFP regulations because they've got Aubameyang on their books. They've got Sterling. They've still got Lukaku. Lukaku's only on loan. He's coming back. That squad is a mess. And I actually feel sorry for Graham Potter that he has to deal with that because we might not see the ramifications now, but in a year or two's time, there's going to be a lot of divisions within that squad. Inter Miami is an interesting one because from what I understand, David Beckham and the owners, because David Beckham is part of the co-owners at Inter Miami, they're busy brokering a deal for Lionel Messi because Messi's contract ends at the end of this year at PSG. I don't know if they have the financial might to take both Ronaldo and Messi. If they could, that would be amazing. And
I think they probably do.
Well, I don't know.
They probably do. Think about how much publicity the MLS will get if they get Ronaldo and Messi.
Huge. For one team, that's insane.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would like it to be at separate teams. That would be quite fun if it was at separate teams. But if they were together, that would be quite interesting. The one thing we need to also know, just briefly, is the MLS have restrictions on foreign players. They're only allowed, I think it's called their foreign roster spot within the team. And from what I understand, each team only has 3. Higuain just retired at Inter Miami. So I know they only have 1 left. They've got Chiellini, and they've got somebody else. I think it's... I don't know. But I know they do have somebody else. And they've got Chiellini, obviously. So I have to do more research into this. But they would have to release another person if they were to get both. And if they do get both, then that means Messi and Ronaldo would have to agree to a lower wage and actually accept, both of them would have to accept as players, that their reign as being a part of the world's elite players is coming to an end. And they'll wind down their careers in the MLS. I just don't know if they'll be able to get both. Maybe one, but I don't know about both.
All I would say is Chiellini is at LAFC, not Inter Miami.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only because that's my team. So I was like, I'm pretty sure Chiellini's gone to my team in MLS. But yeah.
My apologies. I'm not too clued up with the MLS.
No,
but
right.
I do know that Higuain did occupy 1 spot at Inter Miami and he is retired. It would be quite a coup if they could get both. But that'll be good speculation for the future.
It will, and I'm sure we'll be covering it on our January transfer window show that we probably will be doing again. That was fun last time. But we're going to end it up now, guys. So one quick yes or no. Ronaldo return to United. Is it a disaster?
Yes.
No.
And me and Ross are on the same wavelength here. I'm going to say no. Of course, I'm going to say no. I've took the rose-tinted glasses back on. But no, thank you, Bobby, and thank you, Ross, for joining me on here.
No worries, mate.
If you are wanting more football content, please do stick with the channel because the Mullet Show is going live or has just gone live, and it's a comedy football show. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So make sure you go check him out. So from me, from Bobby, from Ross, thank you all so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. Share the video, and we shall see you next week.